Today, we add a very powerful artifact to the exhibition. And beyond thanking everyone in this effort, I want to particularly thank Judith Schwartz for this story of immense courage and the spiritual bravery of her father.
Haskell Tito was a man of tremendous courage. Because of a position that he found himself in Auschwitz, first as block secretary and afterwards as work dispatcher, he had the unique opportunity of saving lives, time after time. Every time, of course, risking his own life to do so. He would switch the names of the living and the dead so that if someone were injured, they could remain in the barracks and as if someone dead had gone out to work that day. Doing something like that, had he been caught, that it would have been his end. And he saved not one, not two, not dozens, not hundreds, more people than I can even imagine. He never talked about it. Only after his death did I hear about this from his friends. But he not only had physical courage, he had spiritual courage. And one of the things that he tried to do as much as possible, being a devout Jew himself, was to switch names of work brigades for the holidays, for example, for Rosh Hashanah, for Yom Kippur, to send religious Jews as far away as he could in commandos, far away from the center of the camp, where there would be less supervision and there might be a chance for them to gather together in a minyan for a little while to be able to pray. He himself didn't have that opportunity. Being worst dispatcher, he had to stay on duty, otherwise the whole thing would have been caught. And that leads us into the story of the shofar. One of these groups, a good friend of his, came back and said, Haskell, there was a shofar. Somebody blew a shofar. And my father asked, whom? And they told him. And he went to this person, and this person denied it. When I interviewed our father a few years before his death, he said that man must have been very, very frightened. Again, very, very incredibly. But that shofar ended up, obviously, where it was supposed to be, because at the beginning of the Dutch March, somebody came up to our father, handed him a package wrapped in rags, and it was the shofar, and said, I'm not going to survive this. Maybe you will. Take this shofar out. Bring it to the world. Tell them we had a shofar here in Auschwitz. And that shofar stayed with him throughout the death march to Gleiwitz and on the train to Buchenwald. And for 3 months, he kept it hidden in Buchenwald. And he took it with him after the war to Kibbutz Buchenwald, which he founded, the first post-war kibbutz in liberated Germany. And he brought the first group of young children, teenage survivors, to pre-state Israel in September 1945, which was the first time that he personally blew the shofar on the boat on the way to Israel.
And now I'd like to ask from the Fifth Avenue Synagogue, Cantor Joseph Malavani and Rabbi Eli Babich to please come up and blow the shofar.
At great danger, 75 years ago, almost to this very day, inmates at Auschwitz sounded this sacred shofar. The shofar represented sacrifice and a call to assemble. For all of us, let the story of the shofar be a call to resist the inclination to be a bystander, to speak out against intolerance and hate, and to work together to overcome the unspeakable inhumanity that pervades so much of the world.